Guys, I wanted to show you proof that many boxing fans want to see Dillian Whyte versus Luis King Kong Ortiz. I know that the narrative that Eddie Hearn says is that the reason he wants to make Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora is because that's a fight that more people want to see. But when he's talking about more people, he's simply talking about UK boxing fans. Well, I hate to break it to Eddie Hearn, but boxing fans come from around the world, not just from the UK. I get that the UK is hot with boxing right now, but there's millions of boxing fans around the world, and a lot of them would rather see Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora. If you even look at this latest video from IFL TV, where they ask, Eddie Hearn about his opinions, and they ask him about Whyte versus Chisora. If you read the comments, you're going to notice that everybody in the comments is saying, make Whyte versus Ortiz. Thumbs up if you want Whyte versus Ortiz. 234 people thumbs up Mr. Daniel when he writes make Whyte versus Ortiz. 444 people thumbs up Mr. Free Duck or Tree Duck when he said thumbs up if you want Whyte versus Ortiz. This other guy writes, he states more people want Whyte to fight Chisora, but more people want Whyte to fight Ortiz. 210 people thumbs up. Nazir Abdul says, make it happen, Dillian Whyte versus Luis Ortiz. Anyone else preferred the Ortiz fight over Chisora? 331 people thumbs up the comment. So it just goes to show you, hundreds upon hundreds of people are thumbing up and agreeing with everybody who's going around saying, we'd rather see Dillian Whyte versus Ortiz. And by the way, I'm not saying that every UK boxing fan wants to see Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora just because they're from the UK. Obviously, I have UK boxing fans subscribe to me. So obviously, I've seen UK boxing fans tell me, no, I would rather see Luis Ortiz in there with Dillian Whyte because they are fascinated by that style matchup just like me. I've seen some UK boxing channels say they would rather see Luis Ortiz versus Dillian Whyte rather than Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora just because they think it's a quality fight. It's a good matchup. And they're hardcore boxing fans like myself and they find that intriguing. And as you can see by the hundreds of thumbs up and by the hundreds of comments, you could see that the majority of boxing fans want to see Whyte versus Ortiz. Just look at the thumbs up. If you add up all the thumbs up, that's thousands of people. And again, I get it that Eddie Hearn is saying that, the UK wants to see this fight between Whyte and what's his name, Dillian Whyte and Derek Chisora because it's a big UK fight and casual UK boxing fans would want to see that fight, and he wants to make it into an in-house fight and make all the money. But the reality is, boxing is just not in the UK. Boxing is a worldwide sport. You got millions of boxing fans in the United States, millions of boxing fans, in Germany, all over the world. And I've seen, personally, fighters from around the world, boxing fans from around the world, not just in my comments, but in other, people's channels, in their comments. And I've seen uploaders from other parts of the globe making videos talking about them wanting to see Dillian Whyte versus Ortiz rather than Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora. And I've read their comments and I've seen their comments agreeing with them. Hundreds of comments. So don't come at me and say that nobody wants to see Dillian Whyte versus Luis Ortiz. And they would rather see Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora. Because that's not true. That's simply not true. Many, hundreds upon hundreds, if not upon thousands of people want to see Dillian Whyte versus Luis Ortiz. So don't come at me and say that only a little bit of people and the majority of people want to. Again, the majority of people that he's talking about who wants to see Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora are from the UK. That's who he's talking about when he says the majority of people want to see that. He's talking simply only about UK boxing fans. He's ignoring boxing fans from around the world. He's not mentioning the fact that many boxing fans, you know, American boxing fans, German boxing fans, New Zealand boxing fans from around the world. He's not mentioning the boxing fans from around the world. They want to see that. And like I said, including thousands of UK boxing fans. I've seen thousands of UK boxing fans wanting to see Dillian Whyte versus Luis Ortiz. So don't come at me and act like nobody wants to see this fight. It's just a handful of people. It's not a handful of people. Like I said, look at the comments. Look at the videos where they're asking Eddie Hearn about Dillian Whyte versus Ortiz. Everybody is saying, please make Dillian Whyte versus Ortiz, Eddie. They're begging Eddie Hearn. They're begging him. You got thousands of people liking, thumbing up. That tells me that people want to see that fight. So don't come at me and act like it's everybody just wants to see Derek Chisora versus. It's not true, homie. That's not true. Anyway, that's all I have to say, guys. I'm out, and subscribe for Ladies in Boxing.